All right,
We
all
already
right.
know
So
it.
this next one is going to be very long. Now, I don't know if we want to summarize what it is, if we want to read a couple paragraphs, talk about that specific part, or do you just want to just fucking go ham, read the spot, then just go ham with talking about it?
Yeah, this is a long one, huh? All right, I'll read until we get to something that we need to talk about.
All right, so here we go. Read until in short. Perfect. Yeah, you'll read all that, and then in short, you'll read that paragraph. Okay, cool. Then we'll talk about what we just learned info. All right, listen up. Buckle up, Buttercup, because here we go. We're talking about covenants.
All right, covenants. Covenants are the centerpiece of Shadowlands and have been okay, he said it like that. Covenants are the centerpiece of Shadowlands and have been the subject of passionate discourse across the community over the past few weeks, which has been mirrored by discussion and debate within our team. From the system's first conception, selecting a covenant was crafted to be a weighty decision, shaping a character's abilities, cosmetic rewards, and access to endgame story arcs and sanctum system. A weighty decision, almost by definition, comes with some amount of stress, whether anxiety about making the wrong choice, quote unquote, or just evaluating various pros and cons and wishing there were a way just to get the best of all worlds. In designating this system, in designing this system, we've done what we can to minimize the burden of regret. That gave me chills. We've done what we can to minimize the burden of regret. Those measures should be fully enabled by next week's beta release. While picking a covenant at the end of your journey to max level is a weighty choice, it is not a permanent one. If you find that whatever the reason you are unhappy with your initial covenant pick at level 60, you need only return to Oribos and you can immediately switch to a different one. We already know this. Now, if you later wish to rejoin a covenant that you have left, that is slightly more involved. There's a path to redemption consisting of a series of 2 weekly quests. Does that mean 2 weeks or 2 in 1 week? Whatever. Of 2 weekly quests to atone for breaking your vow and to rededicate yourself to that covenant's cause. These quests are now available for testing in beta. They are still being tuned, but the intent is that they are largely ceremonial rather than feeling like an arduous grind. Okay, I want to stop there. Okay. So what he just said, he said, when you pick a covenant, everything's cool. If you want to switch covenants, everything's cool. Real easy, instant. Boom, switch covenant. Welcome.
If you want to go back,
if you want to go back to one that you were already in, you joined Kyrian, you switch to Venthyr, easy. If you want to go back to Kyrian, fuck you. Anyway, if you want to go back to Kyrian, there is a
come on, dude.
that's just it. Sorry, I let it come through a little bit. All right. If you want to go back to one that you've already been in, there is a ceremonial waiting period. Put it that way. There's just an arbitrary amount of time that you have to wait. You don't really have to do much to go back, but you have to wait before you can go back. So that's why he's saying the 2 weekly quests that you have to do to go back, they're largely ceremonial rather than feeling like a grind. So he's not saying so basically it's all right, do these 2 weeks or do these 2 quests and we'll reevaluate in a week. The covenant takes time to decide whether they want you back or not.
Yeah.
So dumb. But rather than okay, I want to switch back. Now I have to do 7 million world quests to get it back today. It's no. There's no grinding. It's you say you want to come back. All right, we'll think about it. That's how it's gonna work.
So big thing. All right. You picked Kyrian, you didn't like Kyrian. You picked Venthyr, you didn't like Venthyr. You switched instantly Maldraxxus, didn't like Maldraxxus. Then you went to the Night Fae, didn't like Night Fae, and you realized that, you know what, I really did like Venthyr. So you go back to the Venthyr bros. All that shit was easy, right? You go back to you're like, hey, I would like to be a part of your team. They're like, all right, do this little quest. So you go do the quest, and then they're like, all right, wait a couple days, a week, and then we're gonna evaluate. All right, do this other quest. Then you go do that quest after a week, and it's like, all right, now wait another week. It's like, okay. And then they're going to be like, all right, now you can be a part of our team. And it's like,
Yeah,
I
we don't know.
get that. First off, here, let's talk about some of the positives. One, if it was a bar that you fill up, that would be fucking horrible. That would be the worst feeling thing ever, because you would just do 20 hours of content in 20 hours. You would literally just do it straight. You would do it straight through, and you'd be like, I'm ready for tomorrow's raid. And that would feel really fucking bad.
That would be bad, yeah.
If you picked your covenant and you couldn't change at all, that would also be really bad, because if they nerf, buff, whatever, something floats around, that would also be really bad. Now, what they're saying is that you can change. We are allowing you to change. You can test them out, whatever. If you want to change back, we don't want that happening. We don't want that being a part of the game. And now this is not as bad as the other two, but is really fucking bad. Like, really bad.
Ultimately, this is something we already knew, right? They were like, yeah, you can try them out, but if you go back to one you're already at, it's going to take a while. Now we're kind of learning. Yeah, we don't, and we still kind of don't know how long. Like, they're being kind of vague about it. I guess we'll get to test it on beta and see how long it actually takes, how long they make you wait. But this is kind of stuff we already knew. It's just like hearing it again. It's like, oh, it's so weird. It's like a weird system, man. Come on. But this is like, you're locked into your covenant, kinda. So
they want you, they want, so the whole idea, and we'll get this to a little bit further. So, all right, we'll keep reading. We'll go to the next two paragraphs, and then we'll continue on.
All right. So on that same note, we also have taken steps to ensure that a player who switches covenants, as well as one who reaches max level later on in the expansion, never feels permanently behind as a result. Renown measures the strength of a player's connection to their covenant and is the main vehicle for unlocking additional soulbind powers and various covenant perks and rewards. Players primarily earn Renown via weekly quests to gather anima from across the Shadowlands and to rescue souls from the Maw and restore them to their rightful place in the covenant. If a player has missed any of those quests, however, they will find that they can earn Renown directly through a range of activities such as dungeons, world quests, and PvP until they are fully caught up to everyone else. This system will be functional on beta in the coming weeks. In short, a player who regrets their covenant choice and who wants to change their mind should be able to do so straightforwardly at any point during the expansion, and will be able to reach a state with no long-term drawbacks or disadvantages compared to someone who had been in that covenant all along.
Okay. So, yeah, what basically what they're saying is that if you do end up switching your covenants, again, you go from Kyrian to Venthyr, when you do that, even if it does take the 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 months, however long they decide, even after that, you'll be able to do other things, because there's a weekly cap, right? So you'll be able to do other things so that you can catch up. So, like, let's say, I'm just assuming here, but let's say that you're 3 weeks behind, you switch your covenant, you'll be able to do 3 weeks worth of weekly capping. And I think that's what they're trying to do, through dungeons, world quests, PvP, and shit like that, which means that ultimately at the end of, a couple weeks, you're going to be right on par with anyone else that's been in that covenant forever. Awesome.
Yep.
Absolutely awesome that they're doing that. No problem with that at all.
Yeah. And so the currency, or like the thing that you're collecting, I guess, to progress your covenant, they're calling Renown. It's kind of like the new AP. Like this whole thing about like being able to catch up to the level that everybody else is at is almost exactly the same to like artifact knowledge and like AP levels. It's like if I make a new character, if I am AFK for a week, am I just behind permanently, or is there a way for me to like catch up to everybody? And basically they're saying everybody is going to have a hard cap every week. Nobody can get ahead of anybody else in terms of Renown. But if you're behind, you can somewhat easily catch up to where everybody is. This is dope.
Yeah, it's really good.
Hey, this is what weekly caps are all about, baby. This is what I like.
This is honestly, it's what we've been asking for almost all the systems since the beginning. It's like we want to be done with our characters so that we can do whatever the fuck we want. Whether it's, I don't know. I don't want to be mining if I can get some Azurite and get some goddamn power from it, right? So we want to be
Right.
able to be done and then do whatever other fun things in the game. Now it sucks that this has to be a thing because it, you could instantly be like, all right, you switched over you are your covenant. You don't have to switch covenants because the abilities are separate, which I don't like that they don't address in this fucking post. But anyways, all right, all right,
This is literally how AP should have worked in Legion. Like, there's a hard cap, and then there's catch-up mechanisms. That's exactly how it should work. So the fact that it's doing that, it's like, okay, hey, we're good. Weekly cap.
Can't be pissed at it.
I can work with that. That's way. By the way, this next paragraph is the biggest one of all.
Mm-hmm.
The chord.
All right, ready? Get your fucking rest in peace going on. Here we go.
All right. We've also heard from many players who, rather than being worried about regretting their choice, would prefer that they not have to choose at all. They have advocated that we offer a way to switch among the various active abilities offered by covenants without friction. But these covenant systems, that's pulling the ripcord, by the way. That's what people want. But these covenant systems are thoroughly intertwined. Covenant abilities are often modified by covenant-specific conduits and soulbinds. Most of the soulbinds, in turn, are unlocked through covenant-specific narrative campaigns. So granting access to one of these without the others would lead to an incomplete or confusing result. In short, pulling on that thread, or cord, as it were, he says that, would unravel the entire fabric of the system. Even so, we would embrace the work required to rebuild the covenant system along those lines if we agreed that it would be an improvement. But we ultimately do not share that view.
Now let's read the next paragraph because it goes into this one.
Before starting an arena match, engaging a raid boss, or entering a dungeon, a character in Shadowlands can change their specialization, their talents, and PvP talents if appropriate, legendary items, other equipment, active soulbind, and chosen path within that soulbind. So you can change a lot of stuff. When it comes to customizing your loadout, the set of tools you're gonna loadout, yeah, Call of Duty, by the way. When it comes to customizing your loadout, the set of tools you're gonna take into a given encounter, WoW offers more options than ever before, and you can almost entirely reshape your character on the fly to suit the moment. But as malleable as those choices are, none of them, other than perhaps your specialization, defines your character. They aren't who you are, but rather what you happen to be doing at any given moment. Rather than add yet another layer to that decision matrix, we're trying to do something different here. And let players more meaningfully define their character's identity and set themselves apart from other players of the same class. And that identity entails a blend of aesthetic preference, narrative experience, and mechanical strengths and weaknesses. From the earliest sketched designs of the Covenant system, our goal was for the answer to what do you play in Shadowlands to be Kyrian Paladin or Venthyr Paladin rather than just Paladin. And given the central role of combat and power progression to World of Warcraft as a whole, achieving that goal for most players requires that there be a power implication to Covenant choice.
All right, let's stop there for a second. Okay, so this is where we're going to differ a little bit, and I'm going to let Zach's vent, and then I will get the little contradicting point that I have about this. All right, go ahead, man.
Let me summarize all those Ian words. So, let's see. So he says, we hear you. You want to pull the ripcord. You want to unlock the abilities. Like, whatever. You're locked into your covenant. That makes sense. Everybody's, kind of okay with that. But you want to just unlock the abilities so that they're basically talents. You want to not be locked into your talents. You want to be able to change a talent row whenever you want, just like a regular talent. That's what everybody wants. But he's saying, no, we don't want to do that because they're not just talents. They are more intertwined into the covenant system and like these borrowed power systems that you can't just like switch them on the fly. That wouldn't make sense from a lore perspective, I guess. It's as he says, pulling on that thread would unravel the entire fabric of the system. So no, we don't want you to switch your covenant abilities on the fly. There's too much other stuff that you can change. We don't want that to be one of them.
Yep.
And that makes me real sad, dude. That makes me real sad because, like, literally, we were talking about this the other day. I've talked to so many people about this. You know, what are the asking people what do you think the odds are that they pull the ripcord? And everybody's like, oh, like after playing beta for this amount of time and seeing how ridiculous it is to like not be able to change abilities, for sure they're gonna pull the ripcord, dude. The community is like screaming at them. Everybody thinks it's the right thing. Everybody playing the game wants it to be that way. And this is like a anecdotal thing saying everyone that I talk to wants it to be that, wants them to pull the ripcord.
Yep.
Everybody, the entire community, as far as I the only people I ever see, every content creator is saying the same thing. At least unlock, or only just unlock the damaging ability. Everything's gonna be fine. But they're saying,
yep,
nope, it is too core to. We want it to matter. We want you to be. You can't be the best at everything, or you can't have the best option for everything. You have to choose. Like, if you're, you know, I don't know how to say it. We want you to be locked into a talent. They want that. You cannot switch talents based on the situation. You have to, if you want the AoE talent for all the AoE stuff you do, pick that. But that means you cannot have the single target talent when you're in a single target situation.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. But I mean, I get what he's saying. It's like a core. It's so baked into how covenants work, which they could change. But it's so baked in that like unlocking only the ability would just be awkward. Like you would see Venthirs using Kyrian abilities. I guess like that would be weird for people to see. I guess is what he's talking about.
All right. So here's my thing. Okay, I am more neutral, I think, than most people who are outspoken about this, where I definitely want the abilities to be unlocked 100%. There's not even a question about that. I would much rather the abilities be unlocked. That way if there is, which there's going to be, if there is a best and you are not that, if something is the best in everything and you are not that one thing, then you're just worse. Right? For no reason, right? You're just worse. And that would feel really bad. But let's consider a few things. First thing is, I kind of respect the fact that they want you to be a Kyrian paladin or a Venthir paladin and not just a paladin. I think that's pretty admirable to like want to change the game in a way like that, where you actually have an identity from an expansion that we really haven't had before ever. And with that, True. On top of that, I also respect the fact that going with someone like Kyrian, when they say that they don't share, where is it? It says if we agree that it would be an improvement, but we ultimately do not share that view. So what they're saying is that they really feel that it is better for the game. Now, again, keep in mind, they've made drastic system changes. They've made they've reverted complete class changes. They've done a lot of stuff. And there's a reason why they are dying on this hill, and they really believe that it is better for the game. Now, if this was BFA, I would say they're fucking wrong. They have no idea. Look what corruption is. But if you've played alpha, if you've played enough beta, if you've actually been playing as much as Zax and I have been doing, like, I kind of want to say they might have earned my trust in this aspect a little bit, because I can understand that if they really feel that soulbinds, conduits, the covenants in general all play a big role in that ability, and the fact that that ability has a lot of weight. It has to be great. We're talking about the class abilities. The ability has to be great, It has to feel like it's completely unique from the other three options, and it has to also be balanced. Now, that is impossible. There is no fucking way Blizzard is going to balance that. But hopefully they can get it close enough to where if I am a Night Fae, because I do a lot of Mythic Plus on the Warrior, I don't feel terrible doing a single target raid boss if, you know, versus another Warrior that is, you know, playing Condemned with the Venthyr. Like, if they can actually pull that off to where it's not that bad or that drastic of a difference, then this whole system would be fucking amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
They talk about that next.
Is there a chance that they can do that? Probably not. But
No
I do.
chance in hell, yeah.
But I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt, just because of the past stuff that they have done with completely overhauling different aspects of the game, and saying that it is intertwined into every aspect, you know, with your conduits, soul binds and the quests and all that stuff is super true. It would be really weird to have the condemnability. Not really weird. It would just be off to have the condemnability, but no way to buff it through soul binds, conduits, and things like that. Now, you can give everyone all the conduits now then at that point, and then we're in a real fucking fishy situation. So I'm not on board with them, but I'm gonna say that I'm a little bit on their side of the fence right now, because I really believe that there is a chance that they can pull it off. And if they do pull it off, it would be fucking awesome to be able to say that I'm a fucking Venthyr mage, which no one will ever say, but just to be, you know, something like that. Like, you know, that would be amazing if that was the case. And that's my take on it right now.
Yeah. And yeah, it's and they talk about it in this next paragraph about like tuning. It's like, well, ultimately if we get the tuning right, everything will be fine. So we'll talk about it in a second, but I just don't understand. I understand saying like, yeah, we want to do something cute in Shadowlands where like you're not just a paladin, you're a Kyrian paladin. You vibe hard with the Kyrians. You're feeling that. You like that place. You want to hang out in Bastion. You want to get some wings or whatever. I don't know what they do. You know, that makes sense. It's like, oh, I vibe with the Kyrians. I want to vibe. I want to hang out with the Kyrians and help them out. They're my bros. That would be sick to me. Like, you know, I like the lore of this game a lot, actually. Like, I'm not too attached to like picking a covenant because whatever. Anyway, it would make a lot of sense to me for that to be strictly story oriented or cosmetic oriented, or, you know, like I say, aesthetics, narrative experience, whatever. If it's all just cosmetic feel, I'm a Kyrian paladin, these are my bros, this is where I hang out, this is where I do my stuff, this is my sanctum. I don't like having vampire parties. I like building bosses and fight. You know, like,
yep,
this is what you like to do. You're just doing it because you like how it looks, how it feels, yep, aesthetically, all that stuff. But where they messed up in my mind is they built in power implications, as he puts it. They built in power implications to your choice. That's where they messed up. Like, they could have made a super, like, I would be compelled to choose, as little as I care about the difference between how the covenants feel. I'm not picking Night Fae, you know. I probably won't pick Maldrax. I'm probably going Venthyr on every character, you know. Like, Venthyr is just dope to me, maybe. I mean, I don't really know too much yet, but like, Ventyr's just sick. I wish I could just hang out with the Venthyr.
You literally just said that the two sides that I like that you won't pick. That's how opposite we are.
Well, and the thing is, like, if you care, because I feel like people are framing this as like, you either care about the aesthetics of the game fully, or you care about playing optimally, and you can't have both. And that's just not true. My main thing is that I want to play the game optimally and like have my character be as good as possible. And I think the majority of the player base is like that to an extent. Like, I want to be good at the game. I want to play well. I want to progress my character as much as I can. But I don't want to do it in Night Fae City, you know? That's just the best thing I have to do, if Night Fae is just my best covenant, I'm stuck with the Night Fae. It's not a choice. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the best. I feel like it would have been way better if it's like, I'm the Maw Walker. I get a talent row that has the 4 abilities because they all think I'm the shit. I get their 4 abilities. But I like the Kyrians more, so I'm gonna like dump my anima and my resources into them and build up my soul binds with them because I just like them more. It's not they don't actually. I don't know. I feel like they just could have done this a totally different way where it was just only story and aesthetic wise. That would have been sick because then I could enjoy picking the one that I like. But I don't get to do that now. I don't get to pick the one that I like. I have to. I mean, because I want to play the game at a high level, I have to pick the one that's the best. So there is no choice. And that sucks. And not to mention that, like, I don't even get to choose to, like, swap based on which content I'm doing. Because 100%, like, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to balance, like, different covenants being better in raid versus dungeons versus PvP. You know what I mean?
I was
like,
gonna bring up a little bit different point to bolster your point. Is
okay.
I feel that yes, everything you said is 1,000%. It would be way better if they just from the beginning just decided that the covenants were going to be what they are minus the class abilities, right? That would have just been way better, and then give the talent row, and there's been graphics and stuff made that they could have easily done something like that and then made it so that each covenant bolsters your talent, whatever. But
be great.
Now check it. This is what I think is absolutely crazy, right? Is that if I'm an outlaw rogue and my best thing is Maldraxxus, my best covenant is Maldraxxus, there is no way that it's also the best for outlaw and subtlety when they do the balancing correctly. And then let's take it a step further. There's fucking no way that for tanking, DPSing, and healing, the best covenant is going to be the same one. There is absolutely no way between your specs that it's going to be the same, let alone the fact that you're stuck in your conduits that you picked for tanking. You can't pick them for DPS or healing. Thing. But like, there's no way that balance can be correct. If it is a blessing. It is a blessing from Allah, from Jesus Christ. Like, you know, it is like not going to happen.
Yeah, and well, okay, so they kind of respond to it. You want to go to the next thing where they kind of talk about tuning?
Yes.
All right, because I think we're pretty much on the same page there. All right. Next section, more Ian talking. None of this is to say that development on covenants and their powers is finished, or that we are not open to further changes. Far from it. We understand that when we offer a choice between competing packages of strengths and weaknesses, if we're not careful, especially given social and community pressures, weaknesses can easily overshadow strengths of the system. The satisfaction of having an edge in one type of content doesn't make up for the frustration of being excluded entirely from participating in another. But while tearing down the entire system may seem to some like the simplest way to avoid that pitfall, we're committed to working with the community to ensure that players feel viable regardless of their covenant choice. If you really want to go Kyrian on your rogue, but can't justify it because every guide currently says that Necrolord's serrated bone spike is too good to pass up. By the way, he's referencing this, which is crazy. Wow. Currently says that Necrolord's serrated bone spike is too good to pass up, or if an otherwise appealing covenant has benefits that seem irrelevant in PvP, those are exactly the sorts of imbalance we want to fix. And your feedback is essential to that process. In the coming weeks, we'll be doing numerical tuning, making changes to underlying ability designs when needed, and potentially leveraging covenant-specific conduits if a covenant needs some targeted shoring up to ensure that they're viable in a particular type of content. As our combat team shifts its focus primarily to tuning, we'll be rolling those changes out to beta servers ASAP for further testing and iteration. Oh, okay. Man. So they have, okay.
He has faith, dude. He has a lot of faith.
Yeah, so he's saying we're committed to working with the community to ensure that players feel viable regardless of their covenant choice. They're saying we're not going to get it perfect. We don't want to get it perfect. The choices should be different in different content, which I don't like that, but whatever. But he's saying, but we're gonna get it close enough so that like if you want to do a dungeon as a rogue and you're not like Maldraxxus is Bis, like you should be Maldraxxus if you want to do the highest keys. But if you're not Maldraxxus, if you're a Venthyr rogue, you're not gonna get kicked out of the group for it. You're gonna be still be pretty good. Like the difference between them is not gonna be astronomical as it is right now. Right now, if you're not a Maldraxxus rogue, you don't get invited to the key. In beta, it's not even anyway. So it's already not like that. They're not even close with tuning. So they have a long way to go with tuning. And they have some idea that they're going to be able to get them somewhat close in all forms of content. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that, first of all. So I don't even think they're going to accomplish that. And second of all, that goal is dumb in my view. Like they can't do it. And even if they do, it's not going to be good. So
yeah,
I'm sad about this, man.
Okay, so this is me again taking a big leap of faith, and the fact that he literally calls out Kyrian, and then calls out Necrolords for rogue, they understand where things are strong. It's just I get that. I get that if something's strong in single target, it doesn't have to be strong in AoE, and that's the way that you would balance it. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about if something is strong for me being a tank, and then I want to go heal. That's totally fucking different. Those are not. Yeah. That's not. You can just switch the numbers and make that work. It's like how are you gonna make that? I mean, if you look at so. They did it with Night Fae, right? They did it with Night Fae for Druid. Like, it's good for all three of them. It's awesome. But the other three aren't. It's only that one, right? It's literally only the Night Fae one that's balanced between all three of them, and it works well with all three of them. The other three are just not. They don't work that way. So there's no way that you're going to be able to pick anything other than Night Fae. Because who is going to want to be a fire mage or frost mage or whatever and just be like, well, I literally cannot go arcane. If I'm not Maldraxxus, I can't go arcane, but I want to be Night Fae, and it might be okay on fire and frost, but that just means I cannot go arcane. It's just you know what I'm saying? It's like, It seems like that they're not addressing one of the main concerns. They're saying, well, it's going to be good in PvP. It's also going to be good in Mythic Plus or whatever. Yeah, for one of your specs. You might get it right. You might get it not right, but you might get it as close as you can for one spec. There's no fucking way that you're going to get it right for all three of my specs in the way that they play together and how the conduits interact with each other. And there's that can't happen. And if it does happen, you hear it first now. I'm going to walk to Blizzard, not drive, not fly a plane, and I'm going to shake Ian's hand. And I'm going to say, thank you, sir. You have done it.
So I think the word that really gets me as a player that is mostly concerned with playing optimally, the word that sketches me out about this whole thing, this whole section, is him saying viable, to ensure that players feel viable.
I don't mind that
regardless of their covenant choice. I'm saying I understand it, and that's like they've put themselves into this corner where like that's the only thing they can aim for. That's the only thing they can't. If they don't even get there,
exactly,
it's really bad. But the point is, I feel like he's saying that as if it's like, oh, everything's viable, problem solved. No, not for me.
No. I think what he's trying to say is that if your class is viable here and excels here, then we're good. As long as it is viable here, as long as when you take, again, condemned instead of the Night Fae ability as a warrior, as long as you're gonna poop on single target as a Venthyr warrior, and you're gonna do okay as a Venthyr warrior on AoE, and then the opposite for Night Fae, I understand that, right? They don't all need to be best in all situations. I'm not like, I'm cool with that. I just don't think that they can even make them all viable.
Yeah. He even said something earlier. I'm gonna try to find it. while you're talking.
Yeah, that's like really the main issue for me is that I don't care if everything is viable, then everything's fine, right? Like if I'm not like I just don't want the situation where I have a friend, a buddy, or whatever who's playing a class, he's trying his heart out, and then he's he happens to pick a covenant on an AoE fight. He has to sit because he picks a single target covenant, and it's shit like that that would be a real fucking disaster for guilds and raids. It's what happened in Legion in the beginning. But I do, again, I know I sound really like depressed because it is kind of depressing, this whole thing, because I really wanted them to pull the ripcord. I really thought they were going to. I just feel like they can get it right. And I feel like if they do get it right, it's going to be better than if they did it the other way. It's just they're risking the whole expansion. They're literally risking the entire expansion off of getting it right, getting the balance right in this situation. It's a fucking great expansion that they could have just, coasted by. But I guess they want to take the risk. They want to take the risk and say it's going to be the best fucking expansion ever. Or they're just too lazy to change it the right way. I don't know.
Yep. There wasn't a hill to die on. They created the hill and now they're dying on it. Like it wasn't even there. Yeah, it wasn't even there. They made a hill themselves and now they're dying on it. It's like, come on, what are you doing, man? All right, I found the sentence. So he says it himself. The satisfaction of having an edge in one type of content does not make up for the frustration of being excluded entirely from participating in another. That's true. So that's why they say they want to make it viable at least, which that's subjective. Like, that's just a subjective. Viable means nothing. That means like what percentage are you considering is viable?
How viable was sub in BFA?
Because like to me, if it's not the best, in what I do, trying to mythic raid at the highest level that I can, if it's not the best, it's not viable. Period. There is no like wiggle room for like, it's not the best, but it'll get the job. No.
I mean, you'll be able to do your weekly 15.
Be the best. Yeah, exactly. Which is like for most players, almost the entire player base, what they're aiming for, things being viable, that's understandable. Because it'll appease, I guess. I don't know what the word is. It'll be okay for most players. But it's just like a philosophical thing. People aren't, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it's good ultimately. I just feel like most of their decisions, they are hurting players who want to be optimal without actually benefiting players that just want to be viable. I don't know if I said that in the right way, but it's like,
I don't know if I agree. I get what you're saying. I don't know if I agree with that.
I think like they're not actually doing anything positive.
I think they do want players like you to enjoy the game just as much as people who play the game at my level, or people who just try to heroic or normal or even LFR. I think they really do try to make it, especially right now, it seems like they really are trying to make the game just a better game for everybody.
For sure.
But it's you're right. There is a point to where it's like, all right, everyone would have been super happy if the abilities were unlocked, and now it's everybody other than this little sliver is going to be happy. So it's like, why did you have to?
We don't even know. They might be happy
for
everyone.
Yeah. Why did you have to take that little sliver? You literally could have just made everybody happy. It would have been sweet. Everyone would have been like, all right, cool. If this post would have said, we're going to make it so that the class abilities are unlocked, bro, the fucking world would have went on fire with joy. Yeah. It would have just lit up. And everyone would have been excited because it would have been great for everybody, except the one person who gets pissed that they have to change their talent between single target and AoE. Like that guy can go fuck himself, Which no one cares about that guy.
Which, by the way, is a great example of them not getting the balancing even anywhere close. Like we're talking about, if you choose this talent over this talent, you are not invited to the key.
Yeah.
Like. If you don't take, I don't know, nobody's gonna understand that example. Anyway, there have been dead talents for a long time that nobody plays.
Lunar
Because they're
beam.
dead. Yeah, exactly. So like, and maybe it's just like a lack of effort. Maybe they're really gonna try on this one, and they're really gonna get everything's gonna be
Give it
viable
the
for
old
every single spec.
college.
Yeah, imagine a talent, any talent in the game, being viable for every single spec in every single piece of content. Oh my, that's just like
I want to
that's an
know. I
impossible
want to
task.
know if they are capable of doing this type of thing. Then what the fuck went wrong? What the fuck went wrong in BFA?
Right, yeah.
Like I want to know. I want to know.
That's right traits.
So everyone needed a rogue in Mythic Plus. You just needed it. They like you're not doing high keys without a rogue, but they would rather take anything else other than you being sub. Okay, they would take the feral druid over you being sub. Okay, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like even when everyone wants a class, they won't take that spec of the class. So it's like, like how are they gonna do it here? It's like how are they gonna balance everything in? I have faith. I gotta stop it. All right.
Okay, so
I have faith.
one thing
I have faith that they can do this.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was pretty interesting actually. I was watching as a clip from Maximum, the leader of Limit. He was talking about how there's a weird kind of paradox where this whole idea of not being able to swap your abilities, your whatever, swap anything, in a weird way, doesn't affect the top like raider players, like the ones that are going. They just raid and that's all they do. That's the only thing that matters until it's over.
Because they're gonna pick the best. Yeah.
Yeah, you will pick the best raid one, and you do not care about any other content. You'll just deal with it. Like, even if it's not the best, who cares? Whatever. I'm picking the best raiding one, so I'm good. Like, I just figure out which one that is, and we go with the flow, which might change from fight to fight, but that's a whole separate thing. Which is why they're going to have, like, 4 of the same character, which is, that makes me I cringe. Anyway, so it's actually like not going to affect them as much because they're just going to pick the rating one. They don't care about any other content. They're going to pick the rating one and they're going to be cool with it. And then once they kill the last boss, then they're going to like switch away from the rating one. They're like, okay, rating's over. Who cares? Now I'm pushing Mythic Plus. It's MDI time, Then they pick the dungeon one. And it's like, all right, I don't care that I'm worse than raid. Progression's over. Like this whole not being able to switch thing doesn't actually matter to me because now I have the best one in the content that I like. But even then, it's still going to be like, now that rating's over, now you still can't be the best in dungeons and PvP. You know? Like if you think about somebody like Trill, if anybody knows who he is, in End Limit, where he's a world first raider, one of the best PvPers in the world, and he competes in the MDI. Like, what is he supposed to do, man? Like, he's just screwed.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Nothing he can do.
Man. So all right, the last point that I wanted to make.
Some weird paradoxes with this.
Last point that I wanted to make is that the only reason why I have faith is because Legion was great, and there have been expansions before that were great. BFA was a fucking dud, but I'm noticing a lot of Legion design decisions in Shadowlands. I'm noticing them taking a lot of feedback. I'm noticing them reverting things that were awful. So it's the only reason why I have faith. If anyone is out there wondering why I have faith that they can get this right, it's because they have shown us in this beta that they are willing to cut shit out if it is for the betterment of the game. And that is the only reason why I have faith. If it was for any other time in any other, take me a couple months back, I would have just been like, no fucking way. There's absolutely no way. But that's the only reason why I have faith, and I think that's it. I think we should probably move on to the next few things. Yeah,
and like Legion ended up being a great expansion despite these things. So Shadowlands could still be a great expansion despite these things, or maybe they're not that bad. Who knows how it's gonna play out, or maybe they fix it. So it's like this isn't gonna doom Shadowlands because like it has so many other like amazing things going for it. So we'll see.